Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Two Irish Lads Love Movies. We're two Irish lads, and we love movies. My name is Dave,
And I'm John.
and we love movies. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at how impossible each of the stunts from the Mission Impossible movies are. So we're going to be ranking these from actually impossible, as in defying physics, the whole way down to I could do that. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it. We're going to work through them chronologically. So we're going to look at Mission Impossible 1, starting with the CIA Langley heist. Right, a lot of this I feel like is going to just be us talking about how ridiculous Ethan Hunt is as a person and how ludicrous it is that he actually thinks he can do any of this. In terms of like, is this actually in any way possible for a regular human being? I'm thinking no. I'm trying to remember now exactly what happens. I mean, they're climbing through the ducts or whatever, that's all fine. Oh yeah, they make your man shit himself. So, first of all, fair dues to them for pulling that one off. In terms of actually getting into the room, I mean, you've got the soundproofing going on, you've got the pressure sensitivity, you've got his ridiculous acrobatics as if he's in Cirque du Soleil. Yeah, overall, I'm going to say I'd probably be going with Mission Impossible. It's not actually impossible, it's not defying physics or anything like that, but it's completely ridiculous. Very cool, though, and kind of set the standard of what the series would become. It didn't get into that until probably properly into like number 4, but it was the start of Tom Cruise being like, I can do something really, really stupid and look cool doing it, and people would be like, there's no way I could do that.
Yeah, this is like iconic Mission Impossible. I think this is, like you said, set the standard. It's very its time too. It's quite over the top. I mean, even the whole tense sequence where there's the rat in the duct and fucking what's his name, Leon the professional. I can't remember his name.
Jean Reno.
That's the one. He starts getting the sweats and subsequently pretty much drops Tom Cruise on his face, and then there's the whole like doing
his wibbly wobbly arm.
Yeah, doing the breaststroke,
trying to balance
just above the floor is a bit like, yeah, it's definitely.
I mean, you gotta say fair dues to them for realizing that could actually look cool, because like,
yeah,
I'm sure when they were filming that, he felt like an absolute idiot.
Yeah. I mean, how are we feeling about this? I don't think I could do it personally. Is it impossible?
I mean, like, could you physically do it if you had enough training? Sure. Like, the idea that you just go in there and suddenly have that degree of balance and finesse, and no.
Yeah, definitely difficult. I think the likelihood of a rat just traipsing by in the duct was, it's not very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Convenient, I guess, for the movie, but and
those CIA agents, you know, they're dirty animals.
Yeah, like
leaving rubbish all over the place.
Yeah, so I don't know. How do we feel?
I'm probably leaning towards Mission Impossible.
Yeah, we think this is quite impossible. Okay, a lot of core strength required.
Oh god, yeah. Okay. Also nice that they gave him a reflective floor so that he could
look at himself.
All right, moving on to our second one here from Mission Impossible, which is the whole train sequence. So the helicopter into the tunnel, him jumping onto the front of the helicopter, getting blown away from it, the blade in towards the neck, all that kind of stuff. Do you want to go first on this one?
This is fairly ridiculous. I'm going to say actually impossible. The just flame, everything about this is just ridiculous, really. That he get hurled onto the train. Am I right in saying that? From the explosion?
Yeah, basically the explosion, yeah, throws him onto the train, and then the helicopter crashes into the train, and the blade of the helicopter is like spinning around and it's like an inch from his neck.
I don't have a whole pile to say about this. I mean, this is just, it is like peak Tom Cruise. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to say it's actually impossible. I don't think we have much to say about that, really.
Yeah, I think it's cool though, and it's interesting that this series is like nearly the reverse of everything else that was done with. I mean, it was done in a wind tunnel and they actually blew him with air and everything like that, but the rest of it was like green screen and stuff, which was unusual for the mid-90s. Whereas now everybody else with green screen, I feel like if they redid this now, he'd be like, put me on an actual speeding train.
Yeah.
I want to prove this can physically be done. I mean, as he kind of does in 7, but yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. That's actually impossible. Okay. Next we've got the rock climb at the start of Mission Impossible 2. Yeah, I mean, this one has some ridiculous elements in it in terms of like the jump and slide, and catching himself and dangling off with the single hand and all this kind of stuff. But is it physically possible? Yeah, I think it is for somebody who's actually able to rock climb. So I would be falling on difficult on this one.
I'm gonna say this is like whatever about that last train sequence. I think this is the beginning of like pure Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt egoism, just like skyrocketing. Like that whole, like you even have the perfect snapshot of it. There is his lean back with just hanging off the side of this giant cliff face just by his knees, like just taking it all in is ridiculous. Like there's some like weird traversal sequence too where he's like facing one side and then he's just having a little think and then just does this like pirouette onto the like twists his whole body around. It's
the one that has the best cutaway for that with the Ben Stiller gag.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
Yeah.
The Ben Stiller, it's his stunt double thing, and it's like just as he goes into the spin and spins around, it's Ben Stiller instead.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know much about this sequence, the actual it being shot. I presume he did a lot of this.
Yeah, so again, like you see the origins, a lot of the stuff in the series come from this. He did do most of it himself. Obviously, it was wire work though, so they weren't actually leaving him out. But he actually did the climb. It was on a loose cable, a protective cable, and all this kind of stuff. But I think, from my understanding of it, it was one of the first ones where the insurance company was like, "This is ridiculous. We're not paying for this," because it was before Mission Impossible was sold on the fact that it was actually Tom Cruise doing crazy stunts, and they were like, "Why would we be risking you to do this?" But because he owned the production company that coded it, Wagner. Called Wagner Cruise or something like that, and Mission Impossible would have been their first movie, and then this was their second movie I think they produced. It basically, if he had not also been producing the movie, there's no way they would have let him do it, and you would have had a completely different series, I think, if that hadn't happened, because it was the first thing of kind of like, hey, this stuff is crazy, look at him do it, it's actually his face.
Yeah,
right. But it was when people realized Tom Cruise was a lunatic, but in a good way, before the other version of his lunatism, that's not a word, lunacy. Anyway, where are we following this? I'm thinking Mission Difficult.
I think Mission Difficult, yeah, like Free Solos could probably do it, but I'm not doing it anytime soon.
Probably helps that he's a tiny man as well. It's much better for rock climbing. Okay, next up we have the dive in through the ventilation shaft into, which leads into kind of generic gunfight as well, and then he blows the hole in the building and jumps out. Do you want to go first on that one?
I'm trying to remember this one as best I can. From what I remember, it's not the most crazy sequence.
No, it's not. Like, basically, it's a complete knockoff in a bad way of the Langley dive. Like, it literally is trying to recreate him dangling just above the floor. So he's hanging from the helicopter. They say, oh, the vent isn't going to open in time. It isn't going to open in time. And Luther's like, I can't hack the system or whatever. And they're like, we have to go. So he just jumps out without it being open, and it just gets opened in time. And he goes between these two things and like falls to the bottom, stops himself, and he's dangling just above the floor, exactly as he was in 2. And then it's like one of these silent things as well, because there's guards there, so he has to be completely silent. And he does like a flip to get out of his cables, and then the cables shoot up and they get out just before the thing closes and all this kind of stuff. It's a poor man's version of 1, to be honest. And yeah, in terms of how difficult it is, it's basically just
the same.
A jump with a cable. It's relatively simple, except for the fact that the doors wouldn't have actually opened and he would have went splat before they had actually opened. But I mean, I think it's basically, I would be saying it's doable. Like, I wouldn't go as far as saying I could do it. But
yeah. Do we think, just while we're on the topic of shite callbacks to Mission Impossible stunts, do we think in the last installment that we're gonna get cable dives,
him dangling?
Yeah.
I wonder. I
think
they're certainly they are marketing it on playing into all of the other ones, but I don't know how much that's just kind of trying to make a buzz about it being a final one, and how much of that is actually going to play out in the movie. Like the most recent trailer had him holding the knife from the first one that dropped during the Langley thing, and showing a flash of the guy that they got to shit himself. I'm like, really? How are we going to tie that into the overall arc of this movie? Like, I feel like this might be marketing.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I don't know. I'm predicting
if the guy that they gave the laxative to has been holding a grudge for the last 30 years, and that's the overall nemesis of the entire series.
Oh, that'd be so good.
I would love that.
That's a really character development. Yeah. I'm gonna say, I guess, is this just in the same bracket, really, Mission Impossible?
Yeah, I'd actually nearly go to Mission Doable, but
Okay, well,
we can.
do you really think it's doable?
But I mean, ultimately, it's a bungee jump. Like, it's not.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, fair enough.
I mean, okay, there's obviously the timing of the doors and that kind of stuff, like, but it's basically either Mission Doable because it's a bungee jump, or you're saying it's ridiculous that the doors wouldn't open perfectly on time, in which case he would have died. So it's actually impossible.
Okay,
it's either very low tier or very high tier.
Okay, let's go Mission Doable.
Okay. Also, it looks just like on it looking worse than the first one. The long hair just makes it look so much stupider as well. Anyway. Okay, next up we have there's a lot going on in this sequence. It's basically from the doves, running by the doves thing, putting off the mask, and then there's like a kind of generic car chase, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. But then what we're really talking about in terms of like how impossible this is motorbike fight on two motorbikes, them launching themselves at each other off of motorbikes full speed, hitting each other midair, the motorbikes exploding. They somehow land comfortably on a beach and go into a hand fight where he like has a knife about a centimeter from his eye. Yeah, I kind of took over the last one there. So do you want to go first in this one?
I think like there's so many different ridiculous factors in this. I don't know. Like you said, just the fact that the bikes hit each other so perfectly, they collide, and then they both pretty much land happy and sound without a scratch. I mean, look, I'm giving it plus points because I love big motorbike scenes, big motorbike guy. I love motorbike chase, love motorbike fight, but like like it's very cool. Is it doable? Probably not.
Probably not. You're going with probably not.
I mean, look.
They throw each other. They jump off a motorbike at full speed going the opposite direction and hit each other in midair and land on the ground. And they're fine.
I mean, Ethan Hunt can do anything, but I'm going to say actually impossible on the basis that everything lines up so perfectly. Nobody's really harmed for most of it. Everything, it's more this trapdoor stuff, just pure luck. Everything is timed to perfection, like how everything lines up. So yeah, big positive for motorbikes. I'm gonna say impossible.
Right, I'm gonna go actually impossible, and it is ludicrous how generous you're being to even Ethan Hunt being Dom Toretto would watch this sequence and go, "Come on now, lads. This is ridiculous." Like, right after he launches himself off of the thing, catches your own midair with the tank. Like,
yeah, okay, it's fast and furious.
The physics of this make no sense. Like, they're going at each other, and then how are they jumping off of the bike? Anyway, yeah, no, I'm gonna go with actually impossible. They'd both be smushed like a pancake. I'd go to. I would give. If I was being generous, I'd give Mission Impossible on the fact that he managed to stop the knife like perfectly a centimeter from his eye, but the rest of it, no. Actually, there's another physics-defying thing in that, which is the kill shot that he's walking away from the villain, and of course your man pulls a gun on him from the ground. Ethan somehow manages to do a full spin, kick the ground, and have a gun pop up vertically from the sand and catch it perfectly in the air and shoot your man in the head without the other guy getting a shot off at him. So, fair to going. Yeah, I'm definitely going actually impossible.
You don't think that's possible, no?
I mean, what? It's in terms of John Woo, it's probably an every day of the week occurrence.
I think.
No, I'm definitely going actually impossible on that.
Yeah, that's very John Woo, actually, now that you mention it.
So next up we have the opening sequence of Mission Impossible 3. So there's not a huge amount going on here in terms of stunt work. There's a bit of a heat signature infiltration thing with a shootout, but the main thing stunt-wise in terms of how impossible it is the helicopter chase. So you've got them in their regular helicopter being attacked or being chased by 2 attack helicopters through a field of windmills. So in terms of the, like how impossible this is, you've got Jonathan Rhys-Meyers flying their helicopter, and it's very much sold on like it's not that he's doing this by any great skill. It's just pure coincidence that he isn't hitting any of the windmills, and these 2 super high-tech military helicopters somehow both managed to get hit by windmills. What I think they actually shoot missiles at it themselves and basically kill themselves. So I mean, I don't know where you like. Is it technically? It doesn't defy physics, so I'd probably be falling on Mission Impossible. Like, it's incredibly convenient and lucky, and there's not a huge amount of skill involved, but it's not technically impossible. It's just that man should go do the lotto.
Yeah, this is more the same. It's just like it's the same, pretty much the same thing as. Is it the same thing as the? Well, no, sorry, the bikes hitting each other in midair. It's more ridiculous. This is. I don't think this is on that level, but yeah, everything just goes right for Ethan Hunt, as per usual. I don't think a lot of this, like you said, I don't think any of this sequence has much to do with skill, more so down to just pure luck.
Maybe I have a bias here because like it's not Ethan and it's a different character that's the one doing this, flying the helicopter, and maybe if it was Ethan I'd be like, oh yeah, fair enough, because he can do anything. But what I actually love about Mission Impossible and the stunts and stuff like that is like Ethan isn't like, yeah, he's sold as like, even particularly in the later ones they talk about him being like he's the manifestation of destiny, all those stuff, and it's like he's just ludicrous and can do anything and everything. But like in the moment when these things are happening, he's like looking around with crazy eyes being like, what the hell, how did I just do that? This makes no sense. And like he is achieving the things by being incredibly skilled, he's just having to figure them out on the fly. So like, I'm not saying it's believable the things he does, but like it is that he is a man that's incredibly capable, but his plans just go awry and he has to maneuver his way out of it with his intelligence and his skills. Whereas something like this, it's like, this isn't skill based, you just happen to not get hit by a windmill. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is in a different kind of category. Yeah, where do we think doable, difficult?
I'm thinking impossible. I mean, if we're defining Mission Impossible as the category, basically being like, it's only achievable in this movie, but it doesn't defy any laws of physics or anything like that, I think it's probably Mission Impossible. It's incredibly convenient, but like, could somebody be lucky enough to achieve that? Sure.
So you're saying impossible?
Mission Impossible, not actually impossible.
Okay, Mission Impossible. So yeah, I agree.
Okay. Next, we've got the Vatican, the kidnap, I suppose we call it, rather than heist. So once again, homage to the first one, because it opens with him doing a dangle. He rolls off a wall and he does a little measure with a laser and gets the exact height and rolls off the wall. It stops just above the floor. I think that was I don't think they continued that through any of the other ones. So it's just 1, 2, and 3 that they did the copy of that. But yeah, there's a lot of fun things going on in this one, actually, in terms of it shows them making the mask live. He's doing the cough because the voice synthesizer isn't ready to go. It's a lot more espionage actually than anything else in the series has been before this. They like take a picture to cover the camera that looks exactly like the street in front of it, and they blow up the Lamborghini at the end, and there's like fake red wine spray and all this kind of stuff. I really like it. In terms of if it's possible, I think it's probably just mission difficult. It's like a well-planned heist type thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's achievable for me, but do I believe that people in the world could do this? Yes.
Yeah, this is, like you said, it's more in line with espionage, kind of like just secret agents. Like, it's more to do with the technology that's available to them, really, like the fact that they're actually showing you how the mask is done and all the voice recognition and all that kind of stuff. I think it's definitely not the most outrageous by a long shot of sequences in the series. There's probably stuff happening quite close to reality there in parts. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is just like big espionage sequence, nothing they're not. He's not like doing any massive stunts. There's no like crazy vehicle stunts or anything in this, from what I remember. So yeah, I would just say I'm gonna say probably Mission Duel.
Yeah. I'd say the most impossible thing about it really is the idea that Tom Cruise, Mr. Scientology himself, could be a Catholic priest. So we'll just go Or sorry, you were saying mission doable rather than mission difficult. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Well, now that you brought up the Scientology thing, I don't know.
Alright, I probably would have got difficult myself, but I'm happy enough with doable. We can drop it in there. I think of any sequence in that entire movie as well, it's the thing that that I would go the most. Oh yeah, okay. I can see how he got hired from Alias to make this movie. In terms of JJ, it's very like it's obviously higher caliber than a weekly TV show type espionage thing, but it's very much something that would have played out on a show like Alias.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next thing from 3, which is the bridge sequence. So basically, they've captured Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, Davian, I think he's called, and he's in an armored truck, and they get attacked by a series of drones and helicopters.
From what I remember, this is mostly just like a lot of explosions, and I don't remember it being anything too like as far as these go. I don't remember it being anything absolutely insane, unless there's something I'm completely forgetting.
No, I mean, there's a massive gap in the bridge that he has to jump over at one stage, where he throws the gun over first and he jumps over it. And for a man who's about 5'0", it's a very big leap. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything else that crazy in it. There's a very cool kind of spray foam gel thing that like hardens, that they are able to knock through a metal like armored plate to get your man out. But whatever, movie magic, it's grand.
So the most difficult part of this is the big leap for a little man.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he's good at sprinting, so I guess that equals to a big jump. But his little dangly legs they look a bit ludicrous getting across the gap, but he manages that. There is also the missile hitting the car and him flying sideways rather than like forward at the camera. I don't know if that makes sense with physics, but it looked cool.
Right. Okay. So weird explosion physics and big leap for little man. What are we saying?
It's either doable or difficult, to be honest.
I'm gonna say difficult just based on the size of Tom Cruise.
Okay, fair enough. It's funny that after having said that, the picture next to him is his tiny little legs shoved into a crevice of a cliff. But anyway. Alright, next up we have the pendulum swing from the end of Mission 3. So it's actually funny watching, like, looking back at this, how this series progressed, of like him with an air horn in his face put against the green screen. Then you've got like him climbing a cliff, and then this one is like the behind the scenes is it's a green screen, but the building that they've constructed is about 200 foot tall against the green screen, and he actually does jump off it. So it's like the progression right before the stunt started becoming real, like actually real. It's a very, very cool stunt. In terms of how realistic it is, I mean, he pendulums himself from one building to the other, releases his clip mid-air, and slams onto the top of a building, which is made of glass, and neither the glass shatters nor his entire body splats. And then he slides down an angular building and shoots 2 people mid-slide. So, I mean,
it's very Cirque du Soleil, this.
Yeah, big time. Certainly questionable. It's on the cusp of like actually ridiculous, but also being like maybe Ethan doable because he's a fucking lunatic and can coordinate these things perfectly. So I love the way they try to justify it as well by him doing a little drawing on a window beforehand, like, but if I use trigonometry, it's okay.
Yeah, let me explain it in maths. So it definitely will work and isn't absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, even that slide there where he shoots 2 people, I'm just remembering it. I was like, it is stupid.
Well, I like it as a stunt, but where are we saying it's falling in terms of how feasible it is?
I
will also say, by the way, there's also like, you don't see what happens in the building, but he's suddenly got the rabbit foot and he like gets pulled out of a like window that's not that high with a parachute and survives landing on the road. and then hangs out of a car by a seatbelt to shoot some other vehicle or something like that.
Completely forgot about all of that. Is this up there with doing the breaststroke over
The rest-
pressurized
yeah,
floor?
it's between the top two categories. I think I'm happy enough with whichever one you want to fall into.
Yeah, let's just put it as this is Mission Impossible.
Okay, all right, yeah, it's kind of the definition of like, it would not be possible for anyone else in the world, but it's not technically defying the laws of physics, so I guess it's Ethan possible.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
All right, next up we've got the Kremlin sequence from Mission 4. So kind of skipping over the prison escape really, because there's nothing that ludicrous in that. He just starts a riot. But yeah, so the whole Kremlin sequence, you know, you've got him sneaking in with the mask on. I actually quite liked that. That mask wasn't like, it was still kind of, his face was just similar enough to the guy that they used like a prosthetic nose and stuff rather than the full mask. But you've got the going down the hallway with the image that's reflecting back what the hallway actually looks like. There's like the drop noise to make your man leave his desk and stuff, and then him running away from the Kremlin, swapping out clothes, and then the explosion.
So this is just more Vatican stuff, really. This is just pretty much just high tech espionage, like that whole reflective, the screen showing back the and all that. I don't think it's the most ludicrous. I think it's really cool. It's like you said, the whole. It was nice that we didn't get a full mask, and it was just kind of more of like a stick on rather than the full hooded, like typical Mission Impossible mask. Don't have much to say about this really. It's just more espionage, kind of more realism. So I would say it's doable to a degree. Do you think I could do that?
Oh Jesus, I don't know that I'd be going that far now. Like,
No.
well, the thing that makes it definitely difficult rather than doable is the explosion at the end. I mean, like, I don't know if how much you remember the shot, but he's running towards the camera and the Kremlin's exploding behind him, and then the ground below him explodes and he shoots towards the camera at the velocity of a fighter jet, and then suddenly he's just like in a hospital with a mild concussion.
So maybe I couldn't do it.
Well, I don't know, John. What type of skills do you have? Maybe you could. If you want to put it into doable, then, although I mean, even doable is I could do that. Are you going to put it into I can do that?
I mean, if you take out the launch at the end, like whatever about running away from an explosion, but if you take out the launch and just surviving with a concussion, I'm gonna say I could do that.
Let me ask you this, John. Do you speak Russian?
No, but I'm sure I could learn. I mean, like, these are all possible things, really. Like,
Okay, all right.
Given
I'm
the-
gonna
given the
gonna-
right tools, like.
I'm gonna let you take the win on this one and put it in there. But
Okay.
I think it is ridiculous that you think that you could do this. I'm not gonna destroy your self-inflated ego, so that's fair enough.
Just following in line with Tom Cruise.
Okay, moving on to one that I think I could certainly do. That's not true. Is the Burj Khalifa. So yeah, I mean, you've got knock out a window, climb outside with magical gloves, climb up, I can't remember how much, like 10 stories or something like that, cut through another window, and then because you broke your magical gloves, jump the whole way back down on a fire hose, and then make a leap that you don't make and have to get caught. So I'll go first on this one, I guess. It's certainly up there with difficult. Yeah, I think it's going to fall into Mission Impossible for me. It's one of the defining stunts of the entire series. Is it actually impossible? I mean, I don't believe those gloves actually exist, so that's questionable. But I probably find it difficult to put it into actually impossible given how much of it they did for real. Now, obviously, he's cabled up and all that kind of stuff, but like, he did actually hang out the side of the building. So
Yeah, I think a big part of this movie, like the marketing for this movie, was this stunt. Like this is so well documented. Like pretty much like every inch of this, which kind of becomes a bit of a theme for some of the later ones as well.
yeah, I mean, to me, this is where Mission Impossible became Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
It is what like 1, 2, and 3. It's very much director focused. It's a different style for each of the directors. From 4 onwards, it was Tom Cruise is a lunatic. What is he doing for real this time?
Yeah. Are we while this is happening as well, am I right in saying is there a mask being made as well?
Yeah, which then breaks down, so they have to go in without their masks.
Yeah.
And they're like, we hope they don't know what this person looks like. But yeah, there's a mask being made on the table behind them. And I mean, to be fair, there's other people contributing to this one as well. Yeah, like I absolutely love actually when he makes the leap, because the rope is too short and he makes the leap. And any other movie, it would be that he's slightly too short of making the leap and somebody would catch him. But in this, he makes the leap and he actually goes too high and smacks his head off the window and flips backwards. And they have to catch him by the leg instead, which is quite enjoyable. His tiny little legs, John, they're too powerful. He went too high.
He's just too good at leaping with those little legs. I mean, look, like we said, he's done most of this. Like, given that he was cabled up, but
I mean, the gloves are the thing that make it questionable. Like,
the magic gloves with his Spider-Man like capabilities.
Then again, he's such a tiny man that maybe they could hold him.
And his little legs are so strong.
I love this has just become a thing. I'm judging Tom Cruise on his height, like
me being probably like almost the same height as him. But anyway, I'm gonna let you take yeah.
I'm gonna go Mission Impossible.
Yeah, okay.
Probably I mean, we'll sort these later on, but I think it's probably the upper tier of that. It's questionable, but it's doable. All right, moving on to this is the last one from Ghost Protocol. So you've got the fight going on in the automatic car. I don't know what you want to call it, car garage, but like with the cars changing levels and all that. And then you've got the simultaneous mission going on with the other crowd, where Jeremy Renner has like the metal suit. And actually, sorry, there is a recreation of the dive in this one. It's just not Tom Cruise doing it. So Jeremy Renner has to jump off, and there's a magnetic thing underneath him to catch him before he lands on a spiked air duct. So
most of this is just is it a suitcase being passed through? Like, is this what they're fighting for? There's the suitcase.
Yeah, there's the suitcase with the nuclear launch in it.
So this is a lot of this is just like sliding around the suitcase, in and out of cars, over cars, essentially on a big like what's like a bouncy castle, or like that's all that's happening. They're just changing levels.
I don't know how bouncy it is because it's quite metal, but
okay, there are some falls and stuff like, but it's definitely not like. I mean, it's really cool. Like a lot of stuff, like, and the stunts are really cool. Like
probably the most ridiculous thing that he does in it, which isn't impossible, is your man's about to launch it, and the fastest way for him to get to the bottom is to drive a car over the edge, hit the bottom, and pop the airbags.
Is this Brad Bird? Direct this? Yeah, like this is so Brad Bird. Again, like I know we were saying that they kind of changed from being director focused, but everything, there's so many different moving parts up and down, and like he loves his 1, 2, 3s and all that kind of stuff.
It's also more fun in terms of visuals than it was previously.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth here. I'm kind of struggling to find, because there's a lot, like it's not the most okay, but besides the Jeremy Renner thing, doing the callback.
Are you gonna claim you can do this again?
I'm not saying I can do this one, okay? Because I think when he drives the car off the edges, like that's certain death.
Is it?
Do you not think so?
I don't know. You're more into cars than I am. I mean,
it
has an airbag, like I don't know. But like you have to remember as well, though, he's really tiny, so like it'd be so compact that.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, because he's not a large man, like, so.
He could fit in the glove box.
Maybe that's what he did. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of struggling here. I don't think it's not doable. Like there's big chunks of this. Like it's not on the same level as like Vatican and stuff like that.
I think it's doable.
Do you think so? Oh, we are so different than this.
I mean, what's not doable in it, like?
Well, are we talking about just the Ethan Hunt aspect?
No, I mean, alright, throw the Renner bit in there, like
in the metal suit with the big magnet.
Oh, in terms of tech, like, oh yeah.
Okay. I just mean like, yeah, that like.
Sorry, I thought you meant like doable. Yeah. I suppose it's questionable whether that tech would exist. I mean, magnets exist.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I mean, you're not wrong. They do exist. Where you seem like where this is going. So
you have a better sense of car survivability than I would. So if you say it's not doable,
I know I concede. I say it's doable. I think a lot of this stuff is doable, but I do think there would be certain points where somebody might definitely die. But anyway,
I think it's actually what the most ridiculous part of that action sequence is, that for everything we've seen Hunt do, the fact that he was like struggling in this fist fight with like 65, 70-year-old man who's like got no real fighting skills for any particular reason. Like, yeah, I would have thought he'd just do a little high kick with his tiny legs and it all would have been over.
yeah, he's a little bit nerfed there. Actually, speaking on him being little, there is parts like where, from what I remember, the briefcase is like under the car and he's like struggling to grab it. Like it's just not long enough. If he's like a little bit taller, his life would be a lot easier. But yeah, okay, I think doable anyway.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it on doable. All right, next up we've got the opening of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So not a huge amount of explanation really to what is even going on in this mission. I think, as far as I remember, they filmed this stunt and then said we'll figure it out and assumed it was going to be the end of the movie, and then they couldn't figure out how to tie into the story, so they just went, let's just put it at the opening and give no real explanation as to what's going on. So anyway, you've got Ethan jumps onto the top of a plane, or onto the wing of a plane, and then he's hanging off the side of the plane as it takes off, and he has to get Benji to open the door, and then gets launched into the plane. Okay, so I mean, it's obviously ludicrous, and to be honest, if it wasn't for the fact that it was filmed real, I would be saying put it immediately in Actually Impossible. But it kind of falls into that thing again of like, yes, there's cables, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff, but he did actually hang off the side of a plane when it was taking off, and there was all this stuff. And obviously, look, take marketing with a grain of salt, how much of it is true, that, oh, if a stone had like struck him in the face, it could have like sliced him open and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff, and it was only doable because he was so tiny that nothing would hit him. That bit wasn't said, but like, and he had goggles on to protect his eyes and all this kind of stuff. But like, he did literally hang off the side of a plane when it was taking off. So for me, it would be falling into the only people that could do this is Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise, because he's a lunatic. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern here is his eyes. Like, going at any bit of speed at all, your eyes be filled with tears. So, you said is he wearing goggles in this? He's wearing glasses.
No, he's not. No, in real life he was.
He was.
But in the movie, no, he's not.
Yeah, like whatever about having the strength to withstand all of that force being put on you. I guess, like you said before, he's such a little man that maybe it wouldn't affect him as much. He's a bit more aerodynamic. I don't know. This is more of the Burge again. I think really like where this is kind of.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that I would say, if I'm remembering the sequence correctly. When the door opens, in terms of him like getting into the plane and stuff like that, it's not like it opens and he has to do some ludicrous like crawl forward to get into it. As far as I remember, the door opens and that causes like a suction vacuum and he gets pulled into the plane. So like, basically, he could have just hung on and kept his eyes closed and done nothing as besides hang on, and he would have gotten pulled in.
Well, how ludicrous is him getting sucked in?
Well, okay, yeah, I'm not sure physics works that way either. That's true.
Yeah, like if we're gonna give out about like guns jumping in the sand, I mean, like the inside of a plane turning into a large vacuum for little men hanging off the side of them. I don't know.
But maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's so tiny that he like the suction would just like pick him up like a piece of dirt. And just...
Fair, yeah, you could be onto something.
I didn't think through the logic of the physics of whether he would get sucked into the plane by a door opening.
Usually it's the other way, isn't it? Like you go, yeah, I don't know enough about physics. I'm gonna say this is like ego, like it's Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise ego again, just skyrocketing. Like, how ludicrous can I be in reality?
Okay, so are we falling into Actually Impossible though?
You seem a bit hesitant there.
No, I was falling into Mission Impossible because he actually did it, but then when you brought up the logistics of whether or not a door would suck you in, where it's I kind of realized, wait, no, this might be physics defying.
I think it's Actually Impossible. Like,
okay, all right, yeah, no, you brought me around on that one. All right, right, okay. Next up, we have the fight with the assassin in the opera house. I mean, the main thing from this basically is them fighting on top of a walkway. He does a little rope dive at the end of the sequence as well while holding Rebecca Ferguson, if I remember correctly. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything wildly ludicrous in this.
Yeah, from what I remember, this is just a bit like this is all just like narrow platforms and ropes, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a cool sequence. It's well done. There's like he's using like ropes and curtains and stuff to protect himself from a knife, and it's very well choreographed. But I don't think there's anything wildly outrageous in it. He does shoot a man in order to save his life, and could he have made that shot? But sure, why not? He's eaten up.
Could you do it?
Could I shoot a man to save his life? Could I do it? No, I would have gotten stabbed within about 3 seconds. Also, my hand-eye coordination and balance is fairly awful, so I think I would. The first time the platform moved, I probably would have went flying. Do you think you could do it?
I'm not saying I could. I don't think it's. Okay, no, there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't do in this. I think it's definitely difficult. I don't think there's anything too. Is there anything too coincidental besides him shooting a man to save his life? I don't even remember that. How does he save his life by shooting him?
The assassin is meant to kill your man, obviously, and then Rebecca Ferguson is also meant to kill your man because she was hired as a second assassin. So basically, they're both aiming at the target, and he's like, I can shoot one of the assassins or the other assassin, but I can't shoot both of them. So he shoots your man in the shoulder instead, so that he gets evacuated.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If I remember the sequence correctly.
I think you're right there. I do remember the two of them going after the same guy. What do we? I presume we're saying this is difficult or impossible. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say doable.
Do you think it's doable?
Well, I'm not saying it's doable for us, but are there people in the world that could actually do it? Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. It's just basically like it is just narrow platforms and rope work.
Maybe
really,
it might be mission difficult for most people, but with Tom Cruise's tiny stunty legs, he's so low. He's got such a low center of gravity that his balance on those platforms is very easy for him.
And see, that's where he has the advantage over a man like you who's 7 foot, whereas he's only 5 foot. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. I see.
Notoriously large Dave. Yeah. Okay, moving on to probably the longest singular sequence of all of these. I mean, depending how much you're going to count, but basically the infiltration sequence in 5. So you've got Tom Cruise jumping off into a big thing of water, doing his pointless I'm going to hold my breath for 6 minutes thing, given that the sequence is edited and chopped up, so it made no difference. But anyway, it was one of his I can do a ludicrous thing. So he's getting spun around underwater trying to stick in a hard drive or whatever. Simon Pegg is like walking through a machine that can read his gait to see if he's the actual person while he's wearing a mask. Ethan drowns, gets resuscitated, then immediately gets into a car chase and pulls some mad handbrake turns to like knock other cars off the road and stuff, then flips his car upside down, gets out, goes immediately into a motorbike chase with no helmet, wearing a Hawaiian shirt that's billowing in the wind and knocking his knees off the ground while destroying other motorbikes. So yeah, I mean, let's bear in mind he literally dies in the middle of the sequence and keeps going.
Yeah, he drowns after going into that big water slide, basically. That's essentially what it is, isn't it? Before he goes into the vortex.
Yeah, what are you thinking of this?
No, I'm not. No, you're right. Like he just dies in the middle of this. So
I mean, look, it's not impossible that he pulls the first bit off, drowns, and gets resuscitated. But to then immediately go into a car chase where your car gets flipped upside down a series of steps, and then straight into a motorbike chase with no helmet is, yeah. I don't think even Eaton's not pulling this one off. Like,
we're saying this is actually impossible.
I think it's actually impossible. I mean, if you break down any singular bit of it, you're like, okay, it's not technically impossible, like it's not defying physics or whatever, but the man died through it, and we're meant to believe that he continues it afterwards.
And then the part where he's hitting his little legs off the ground when he's driving that motorbike, I mean, like that would probably stop any man too. So
which is very cool. I actually must look up behind the scenes of how they did the motorbike chase, because it always, whenever I rewatch it, I forget about that bit. And there's like literally he takes a corner and his knee like clips off the ground and he kind of like pulls it back up. And I'm like, did he really do that? Because they're going very fast with no helmets on.
Yeah, to be fair, like what most of these movies do have is mad motorbike stunts,
Yeah,
which
you
I'm
do
a
love
big fan of.
motorbike stunt.
I do love a motorbike stunt.
Yeah, it's probably digital knee though, because his legs would be so short that they wouldn't naturally touch the ground.
CGI knee.
Okay, so we're going actually impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, has to be.
Okay, so next up we've got the final sequence from the 5th one. So I wanted to include this one even though there's not that much going on about it, just so that I could have one where I could say I could do that. Because basically it's a foot chase around London, and then Ethan slides down a hole, and the villain, who's the smartest man in the world, also slides down the hole and gets stuck in a box. So yeah, I mean, it's actually not a bad sequence. It's like a bit of fun, and it's intense enough in terms of how the foot chase is filmed and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, the only thing that's involved in this is, could you do a slide on the ground into a hole and then move out of the way quick enough for a box to come in behind you? Now, obviously, he has the added advantage of his short legs, mean that his slide is much easier. But otherwise, I think it's I could do that, basically, is what I'm saying. I'd have a grazed knee, but I could do it.
Yeah, but Gray's knees are the worst. Like that would hurt pretty bad. This is essentially just a big, like, mouse. There's a big mouse and a big lump of cheese, and Ethan Hunt is running away with cheese, and then the big mouse gets caught. But the big mouse is the smartest villain in the world.
Who somehow knew everything that he would do in advance this time, except the box.
Except for this. Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty doable. Besides the Gray's knee, that would suck.
Yeah, I probably don't have the welding skills to build the box, but that's what my team is for.
Exactly. Yeah. Just outsource.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to not to be ludicrous about it, I suppose there is the start of the sequence where Ethan, being the second smartest man in the world, memorizes, like, I don't know, 10 billion numbers or something like that of all of the bank accounts, and burns all the bank accounts, and then goes, they're in my head, so you can't kill me. And then, like, stands in front of Benji so that they can't kill him. But let's leave that part out. Just say he lands a lad in a box. Fair dues to you.
Yeah, but the bad guy in the box, doable.
I'm going to go with I could do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like your ridiculous thing that you believe you can get blown up and you'll be fine. But alright, so moving on to my favourite movie in the entire series, Mission Impossible Fallout. So we've got the Halo jump sequence, and we'll include this into the bathroom fight with the Henry Cavill's reloading arms.
So this is really big. Henry Cavill doing a Halo jump, pretty much with really small Tom Cruise, isn't it?
Well, Henry Cavill didn't actually do it, but yeah, tiny man Tom Cruise did. Conveniently, this is why. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's probably
another win for Short Kings, is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah. Henry Cavill's mask gets disconnected at the start, so he gets knocked unconscious. And that's what the whole Halo jump is. Tom Cruise trying to get to him to reconnect it or whatever. That conveniently means that Henry Cavill's face mask has fogged up the entire way through the drop, so that he didn't have to actually do it.
And this is why short men are better, basically, is what you're saying.
I mean, speaking as a 7'8" man, I can't agree to that. I'm getting progressively taller as this.
Yeah, your height has increased. They land on
some famous thing in Paris. I've never been to Paris, so it's like a big glass dome on the top of it.
It's not the Louvre, like, is it? I can't remember.
No, it's not. No. It's a circular kind of dome thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. So then, are we counting? So you're saying we're counting from there to the bathroom sequence with the reloading arms, where?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Halo jump into bathroom sequence, because it's all in the one kind of building and one sequence. He does go through a lightning storm.
Oh yeah, the convenient lightning storm. I forgot about that. It definitely doesn't feel like the most ridiculous thing.
And again, he did actually do the Halo jump. Now, not in a real lightning storm. They added the lightning storm digitally, but which actually kind of bothered me, because I'm like, you have him do this thing that's meant to be this crazy stunt, and then you just remove everything and add it digitally in around him. It's like, what was the point of that? But
yeah, yeah. I think at this point it is just like him doing these stunts is 100% down. Is just a marketing ploy. Like all of this could have been done in a safe environment. Like maybe he just likes doing this shit too.
He 100% likes doing this. It keeps him young.
The bathroom, not the secret Scientology serum that he injects with all the other lizard peoples.
No, it's the crazy stunts and being so low to the ground that he gets less gravity pressed on him.
Oh yeah, the physics has changed a lot in this in the last. I don't know how long we've been talking here. Yeah, the bathroom sequence is pretty. Is there some like close? Do we get kind of like a call back to the knife close to the eye in this, or am I completely off there? I feel like there's
Kind of.
something.
If you think there's like your man it breaks a pipe off of one of the sinks and it's got like a sharp edge on it, and they kind of fight each other with pipes and like swings. I don't. It doesn't go in as close to the whole eye thing, like, but yeah, it does swing in by his face. I think it's probably the coolest hand-to-hand fight in the whole series, but it's not like gravity defying or anything.
Do you think it's impossible, or do you think it's difficult, or do you think it's doable, or do you think you could do it?
I think I can do it. I mean, it's kind of the lightning storm that shows up the most questionable bits of it, and that's kind of it's like the helicopter thing, like it's just convenience. But I mean, how likely are you to get struck by lightning if you fly through a lightning storm, like, particularly if you're that small?
Yeah, for a small guy.
Yeah, lightning strikes the tallest thing possible, like.
Yeah, so the odds of it hitting him are actually in his favor.
They're short to short.
They're short odds. Oh no, we have to note as well how fit this man is because like he's able to jump out of a plane, land on a roof, then do everything he does inside the building, and he's pretty okay after. Like he doesn't end up like fucking in a bad way after this, does he?
No, not really. To be fair, like Ethan in most of the series, he takes awful beatings. I do appreciate that he's not like just unbruisable, like undefeatable man. Like he takes beatings and gets knocked down and is actually hurt, but he tends to just be hurt within that sequence. Like you never see him by the end of the movie, like covered in bruises and cuts and stuff all over his face from like earlier in the movie. Like,
yeah. How are you feeling? You make the call.
I'm kind of thinking difficult into impossible. I think I'm gonna say impossible, probably on the basis that I don't know that it's possible to do a halo jump through a lightning storm.
Yeah. The lightning storm is a big factor here.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the prison break sequence from Fallout. So basically, you've got them. They hit a prison truck with a van, knock it into the river, and then they're getting chased by police in the van, and I'm saying they because Cavill is there as well. Both get onto motorbikes. Tom Cruise falls behind because his motorbike isn't working, and then he gets chased by the police. He goes the wrong way around the Arc de Triomphe on a motorbike with no helmet against the traffic through a lot of windy streets, and then he's looking the other way and gets hit by a car from the side. Another motorbike one for you, John. You must be delighted.
This is actually a really good sequence. It is really, really good. All of those street shots with like anything where he's on a bike, absolutely bombing it down those streets is pretty cool, especially like those tight turns.
There's one particular shot where he like he's looking back at the police and he's going absolutely straight towards, I think it's like a Megane or something. It's some Renault, some French car, and like at the last split second just weaves out of the way. It's just like a passing beat, but yeah, it's very cool.
It's not the most crazy out of all of these by a long shot.
Well, you're Mr. Motorbike, so let me ask you two things. Is it possible to go around the Arc de Triomphe the wrong way against the traffic on a motorbike and survive it?
I would say that could be done.
Okay, you'd want mad weaving skills, but alright, I'll believe you. Is it possible to, at full speed, get hit on a motorbike? I think, so he doesn't get hit from the side, he's going towards camera, car pulls out in front of him, so he hits the car and goes over the bonnet or the back towards camera, and hits the ground and rolls towards it, and then gets up. Now he is battered, like he's limping and stuff like that, but he isn't wearing a helmet and does go full speed into a car.
I'm feeling mission doable. I'm not saying I could do it, but I am feeling mission doable. I don't think there's any.
You're making some wild calls here. I was like, on the basis of him doing a full-blown motorbike crash with no helmet, I'm like, is it impossible or actually impossible? And you're like, it's doable.
Like, if he doesn't hit his head,
But how are you not hitting your head though? I mean, I know he doesn't in the shot, but like, is that believable that you don't hit your head?
Yeah, I guess this is the whole like getting struck by lightning thing.
He like hits the car and goes over the handlebars, so he's going head first, yet he lands on his side and rolls and doesn't hit his head.
Yeah, okay.
But you're saying doable, so fair enough.
Yeah.
No, you're Mr. Motorbike, so if you say it's doable, I'll believe you.
I look in terms of mad motorbike things. I don't think it's the most mad or impossible. I'm gonna say no. Put it difficult. Put it difficult. You're right. You're right.
Okay. All right. This one's 6. Nothing too crazy on this one. The only reason we included this is purely because it included a real life leg break. So he's chasing Cavill, running around a few different buildings, load of henchmen running after him. He runs through a funeral and goes across a load of rooftops. A couple of funny gags in it where he's like, Simon Pegg's like, why are you taking so long? He's like, I'm jumping out a roof, or I'm jumping out a window. And he's like, oh, I had the map in 2D and stuff like that. But some great shots of like wide shots of London with him running across the roof and all this kind of stuff. But there is the tracking shot where he jumps from one building to the other, doesn't make it and snaps his leg, and then got up and continued to run by the camera. So, I mean, I think, look, it's certainly doable. Most of it was done for real, obviously with cables again. I mean, I suppose we're only including it really for the fact that tiny man Tom Cruise snaps his leg in half, making it even shorter. So, I mean, I would certainly be falling on doable on this one. I'd nearly go to I could do that.
I could do it up until the point of the jump. Because I'm taller than Tom Cruise, I don't think I'd have such power and density in as he does in his little legs.
You don't think the extra length would give you further distance?
No, but it's the power to weight ratio. Like his is more. He's got more basically. Tom Cruise is better.
Speaking as a 9-foot man, I think I could make it on a single stride. Yeah, I'd kind of range to nearly saying I could do that. He does jump out a window, and it's a questionable height. Like, it's about 3 floors, I think. But like, could I dangle down and do that? Yeah. Would I be getting up and running afterwards? Probably not, but like, I think it is doable.
I'm gonna say I can do that.
Okay, alright, I'm gonna go with I could do that as well.
I think both can do it.
Yeah, we're gonna make it into the IMF yet, John. Be like, what's your skill set? We're able to run across buildings and catch a man in a box. Okay, alright. Last one from Fallout. So we've got the helicopter sequence. So basically, he's grabbing onto the rope at the end of the helicopter, climbs the whole way up, then falls back down, grabs onto the rope again, climbs the whole way up, takes over the helicopter, learns to fly a helicopter during a gunfight with a massive machine gun, then purposely crashes his helicopter into another helicopter midair. Has the 2 helicopters go down a cliff, off the side of a cliff, and then has a hand-to-hand fight on the side of a cliff.
There really is nothing this man can't do.
I know, it's mad skills. He did really fly the helicopter for this one, though. Yeah, I mean, where are you following this? You go first this time.
This is actually impossible. There's just way too much going on here that goes right, and there's so many coincidences. Everything is work. This is pure Ethan Hunt luck. Like, everything is just like lines up perfectly. Like, there's absolutely no way. This is actually impossible, I think.
I'm going to go with controversial take here. I think I'm either on Mission Doable or I could do that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No. I think it's actually impossible. I think it's Mission Impossible up until him crashing the helicopter into the other helicopter. That's when it becomes impossible at that stage, or actually impossible. So yeah, I think we're plopping that one there. For a series that prides itself on doing real stunts and stuff like that, I'm really surprised at how many we have in the top category. I didn't think it would fall this way. Okay, moving on to the Dead Reckoning, or Dead Reckoning Part 1 as it was called when it came out, but now just called Dead Reckoning retroactively. So we've got the mini car chase. So it is himself and Haley Atwell handcuffed together, going around Rome in a tiny yellow car. I think, yeah, in terms of feasibility of this, I think the questionable thing here really is how much of a battering could such a tiny car take with the people in it not getting crushed. Because I mean, they literally do a flip down the Spanish steps several times, which causes them to be sitting in different seats, and I'm like, is the car not getting crushed in that scenario? Now obviously he's so tiny that he's not going to get, he's got a better chance of surviving that because he's not likely to get pinned as easily. But yeah, I don't know.
I I don't think this is most outrageous. But like besides the like structural integrity of a Fiat 500 from God knows how long ago.
No, the driving is possible.
Yeah, the switching seats kind of after the like I don't know how.
Wouldn't be possible with regular height people, but like.
Oh, maybe she just like picks him up and puts him in one seat, and then she scooches over and takes the other seat. I could see that
Just
happening.
flips over her head.
Yeah, I could definitely be handcuffed to her for the entirety of the sequence. I could definitely drive the car.
No, let's just linger on. You could definitely be handcuffed to her for a entire sequence. What is the meaning in that one?
No. Look, you interpret that whatever way you want. Could I survive being that I'm bigger than Ethan Hunt? Probably not. There's like this sequence starts off with them driving that BMW, doesn't it? With no doors on it. And
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like it's definitely not. I mean, it's definitely doable. A lot of it.
Okay. All right. We're going mission doable. My driving skills would not be up to saying I could do that, but yeah.
Okay, fair.
I mean, we can put it into that if you think you've got those driving skills, but that you could outrun people chasing you in a Hummer while you're in a little Fiat 500.
Yeah, maybe not.
Right. By the way, while you're driving with one hand and somebody else is controlling the gears.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. Yeah, it's the old co-pilot situation.
Okay, so next up we've got the tiny alleyway fight, or regular sized alley for Tom Cruise. Rebecca Ferguson's doing a sword fight on a bridge, which yeah is certainly doable if you were able to sword fight. And then Tom Cruise is running down a tiny alleyway and is fighting a couple of henchmen, and I can't remember the actress' name, Pam Keefe, I think it is. She's from Guardians of the Galaxy, and she's got some steel pipes. There's nothing too ludicrous to this, to be honest. They're kind of, she's doing a bit of flipping up over him and stuff like that. It's like a really tight alleyway. It's cool enough shots and stuff like that, but I don't think there's anything outrageous in it.
No, this like it's just a lot of close quarters combat stuff, and luckily Tom Cruise is small enough to fit in here pretty comfortably. Like, so
That's a very mean thing to say, John.
Could I fight as well? Probably not. Could I fit in the alleyway? Probably not. Actually, mission doable, maybe.
I'd probably go to I could do that, to be honest, because if I remember correctly, he doesn't perform particularly well in that fight. I think he takes a beating. So I'm like, could I stand in a tiny alleyway and get punched? I mean, I wouldn't enjoy it, but it's could I do it? Sure.
Could be done. Yeah,
I think he probably wins at the end. He does actually win at the end, because that's why she changes sides. He has a chance to crack her head open with a pipe, and he doesn't. He drops it and walks away. So, I mean, I'll put it this way. I could do it. I probably wouldn't win the fight. But could I be in a fight in a tiny alleyway? Sure.
Fair. Okay.
So, I'd be going I could do that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Right,
last one. So, we've got the bike sequence into the train sequence. We're going to put them together. So you've got the motorcycle. You've got a motorbike jump off a cliff into a parachute, which lands you inside a train. Then go onto the top of the train for a knife fight. Then have the train go off the edge of a blown up rail line and work your way up through the train. And then paraglide or something like that, or whatever the hell they're called. Parasail off another cliff.
Great motorbike sequence again. Really good jump. Considering he did that as well. I mean, I don't think him ditching the bike for the parachute is the hardest, but I definitely, when it comes to the train sequences where like this just gets mental, like you could definitely, if you were able to ride a motorbike and you were able to parachute, you could definitely ride a motorbike off a cliff and parachute.
I mean, he did do that, and for once it actually is. He did that. It's not, there was no cables or anything like that. Like he did.
Yeah, like he did the full
times.
thing.
Obviously, the ramp isn't real, so it would be more difficult if you're doing over rocky terrain, like. But
the train sequence is pretty mad.
As in the fight on top of it.
Yeah, but I mean that's such typical. Like, how many times have we seen train fights like that? Like, it's very like Indiana Jones. Yeah, I don't know where do you think? I don't really know where to start with this one.
How do you feel about the actual train going off the cliff at the end and them working the way up through the carriages?
Them climbing through it.
If you remember as well, the entire kitchen goes on fire with the gas lines, and they're climbing through the
she's hanging on to him for most of this as well, isn't she? At one point or another.
Well, she's jumping.
Yeah, yeah, they're making their way through, but like there is a few catches and stuff. Yeah, there's just so much going on. Like this is a long sequence too. What, like where does it stand for you? Do you think?
There's one thing in particular that immediately puts it to actually impossible for me, which is, and it's the thing that we mentioned in 3 that I said doesn't occur for Ethan. That's the one thing that I don't. I really like this sequence, but it's the one thing that I don't like about this, which is when he does the cliff jump and the parachute. The train is moving along a train track at speed, and she's about to get shot, and he comes through the window of the train on his parachute and like hits the person with the gun, like by accident, and is like looking around and is like suddenly in the middle of this action sequence. He's like, "Oh, what the hell?" But like it's pure coincidence that obviously he was aiming for the train, but it's pure coincidence that he goes through into the carriage that she is in at the exact moment that he needed to be there and hits the person with the gun. And it's like, that's the type of thing I don't like. That like that's not skill, like it is coincidence. It's a deus ex machina. Like
That's the Ethan Hunt luck situation again, really. Like, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say it's actually impossible. Most of this, like the climbing through, especially for such a short man, being able to access, like to make those climbs. And I guess he's done it before, but to make that climb through the train would be pretty difficult.
yeah, I mean, there's a bit when he's fighting on the top of the train against your man, and they head towards a tunnel, and the other guy has to duck, and Ethan doesn't, so that gives him a distinct advantage.
So, do you think it's doable?
We're just gliding straight past that, I joke. No, I don't. I think it's actually impossible. Even just purely on that, the bit that I mentioned about him busting into the train, I think it's actually impossible. And the climbing through the train bit is probably impossible too. But
For the window to actually break as well, while like he, for every other movie when he's up against a glass window, it doesn't break whatsoever. Like the glass panes just seem to be able to withstand any amount of force, but as soon as he needs to be somewhere, they just explode. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that's impossible, really. Like,
fair enough. Okay, actually impossible. We will leave it there. So
happy enough.
I'm happy enough. All right. Well done, short man Tom Cruise, and hopefully you don't kill yourself with your Mission Impossible 8 stunts. That's it for this episode of Two Irish Lads Love Movies. Thanks very much for taking the time to join us and watch this. And if you liked the episode and want updates on our new releases, please like and subscribe below.